I want to clarify that I am wildly bullish on residential rental properties. But in the outlying years, I think we have to go through a few things. But when we get to mid 2026 and 2027, things are going to change and change radically. In the short term, I think we have some problems. We just need to go through those. But I am incredibly bullish, particularly in many locations around the country. Right here in Maricopa County, where Phoenix is at, in Surprise, we are blessed with having a huge chip manufacturing presence. We've got Intel is here, and of course, Taiwan Semiconductor is in the process of completing their plants, and they just keep expanding and expanding. This is going to do nothing but give incredible business for Phoenix, Arizona. But in the outlying years, it's not here yet. And unfortunately, we have to go get rid of some of the excesses that have been built into the system. So let me just go through this again. But this has caused some concerns and some confusion. I am really wildly bullish. But again, there's only one reason that we're buying any real estate and we're buying any assets at all, and that's to make money. So if I feel we can't make money, we are just not going to do it. Not going to happen. This is just part and parcel to what we do. So let me go to these slides, and I don't want to make this a real long video. Now, this is timing model. I interviewed Charles Nenner for 20 years, and I've looked at a lot of his research, and went back into my business, and this is a pretty simple business to look at. We run on an 18-year cycle, and it has guideposts as we go along. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you look at commercial people like Ken McElroy, they're focused in the commercial space, and the commercial space is a year to a year and a half ahead of residential. They're both the real estate asset class, but they're not coinciding completely with each other. So at the moment, most of the problems are focused in the commercial space. It is going to spill over into residential for sure. So here on residential, this is where we're actually rolling over the top and coming down. Now, I anticipate by mid 2025 that we are in a full-blown recession, because I think we have a terrible, terrible recession that's coming. We just need to get through it. It just needs to wring out all the excesses, and it's going to give us a tremendous opportunity to purchase properties. Those opportunities are already presenting themselves in the commercial space. So already you're starting to see these things, and we are going to get that opportunity in single-family homes, which is my affordable space. Now, again, affordable space is going to explode when we get to 26 and 27 with there's an awful lot of new construction and apartments coming to I think it's coming to completion. It's like 760,000 units nationwide. Here in Phoenix, we had 24,000 complete last year, and we got another 22,000 complete. And that's putting some pressure on rents, and of course, that's going to drive prices down. We're already experiencing that in the rental, because the rentals are there's a lot of them. So we're not selling our portfolio, but until we can get to the point where we can get a cash flow to it and get a nice cap rate, because I think the cap rate is under pressure, we're sitting on the sidelines. But we are going to be buying with a vengeance soon. Now, what you see in commercial is what we're going to experience soon, and that's when we get over to this other side of the. When it comes down over here, we've got buy points identified. I think there's a real possibility that we wring out some excesses, and I think nationwide we could see a pretty strong retracement. I think that in your local, I think you can go back to here, which is probably going back to Q2 of 2020 prices, but they never stop where you think they should stop. I mean, that's just a fact. It always goes beyond where we think it's going to stop. So there is a possibility. Now, Trump cannot do anything about this. These are excesses from the last 4 years. Let me go by the next slide here. And let's just talk about why we see this. Look, this is coming right out of the Federal Reserve electronic database, and this is really current. This was the observations was for January 15th, so it's only about 6 weeks ago. You can see when we I'm sorry, when we get into COVID, how the Federal Reserve balance sheet just exploded. And of course, this just gave fuel to every crazy harebrained idea that you wanted, because there was just liquidity. The banks got all kinds of money, and of course, they can't sit on this money. They only make money when they take it out. And this right here corresponds to this here. So this is when we were going up. The liquidity was absolutely everywhere. Rates were down in the basement. There was money to do any project that you wanted to do. There was just the lenders were just throwing money at you to get you to buy stuff. And then we get to here. This is where our timing models went off, was that we peaked in liquidity. It also peaked on our housing market and our asset market. And of course, we've had a couple of, this was March of 2023 when the banks failed. They put some liquidity and you can see that, but it's been coming down. So what is the strategy right here? What is the strategy right here when you're seeing that the Federal Reserve is taking money out of the system? What would be your strategy? You're certainly not going to be aggressive like we would here. That would have been here. This is right here where they're taking money out, and as they take money out, there's no support for the economy. There's no support for the business, and prices will go under pressure. And we're going to go in because we get signposts along the way telling us where we are on the timing model and what our strategy for this should be. So let me go to my next slide, and let's just look at this. Again, this is the overnight reverse repo program. And you can see, can you see the bubble? Look at this. It peaked exactly when we saw it peak. So this is just another one. All of them show, virtually, this is why it's called an everything bubble. You can look at it, and in virtually every asset that you look at, you're going to see this bubble. This bubble needs to come out. It has to come out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That has to resolve. There's way too much liquidity, and all that malinvestment that was a product of all that liquidity needs to be resolved, and it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. So if you're not paying attention, you are going to get hurt. Now, we're going to talk about some strategy here. So this is as good a point as other. I would say go look at my other videos that we have been putting out. If you like my videos, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. YouTube loves that stuff. What can you do now? Right now, we're in a huge, enormous jeopardy period. Now, you should have sold anything that was not performing. Anything that you need to sell, you need to get out of the market right away. Now, we've already peaked on prices nationally. Now, there's a disconnect because we look at the median price. A lot of them are averages. So the averages, and right now what's active is high-end properties. Low-end properties are not selling well at all because that's an affordability issue. When you're making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year to buy a $2 or $3, $4 million property is not a big deal at all. A lot of them are paying cash, and they don't care about the interest rates. Not so much when you get to the lower end. And of course, when you do an average and you're seeing the upper end is doing way more than the lower end, it drives the averages up. But when you look at the median has not been exceeded. Nationally, the median has not been exceeded. Now we're here in Maricopa County. Scottsdale's here. Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Carefree. These are unbelievable sanctuaries where, people of wealth come to. In Scottsdale, you have country clubs with golf courses and gated communities with roving guards. And, the place looks like Disneyland because it's just beautifully manicured. Those places are doing just fine. If you're selling out of the Palisades in California, you're going to come over here to Scottsdale and you're going to buy a property that's better than one that you sold for half of what you sold it for in a guard-gated community with beautiful mountain views and golf courses. So sure, those are doing really, really well. But when you get down to the affordability, it's cheaper for you to rent a property, as we talked about, because there is all of these apartments that are completing. Because remember, in 2021 and 2022, it's a great idea to build an apartment complex. What a great idea. It just takes you a couple of years to get this done. And the market has changed. So a lot of them are no longer viable. And as soon as they become, get financed, away they go. So they are going to be our targets. So let me go here to this. Let me open this up a little bit so we can see it even better. And let me go to my next slide here. And let's just talk about what's going on. Now look at our signposts are telling us that the economy is slowing down. Now I thought it was going to go down fourth quarter 23, but then there was just an enormous amount of liquidity put in. You know that we did that Inflation Reduction Act for $1.79 trillion. And of course, that is postponed it, but the signposts keep coming in. Got this morning from Zero Hedge. ADP employment is even seasonally adjusted. Can't help it. It's confirming a softening job market, which fits right into our timing model, which is another guidepost as we go along. We're also seeing, we just got this. I talked about this yesterday, that the Atlanta Fed, last week it was pointing at 1.5% negative. Now it's 2.85%. And a lot of that has to do with, we talked about this in our prior videos. We talked about the fact that when you get government spending, they add that to the GDP. So when you get when we're going at 6% GDP and you got 8% government deficit spending, you take that away and you're down negative. That's exactly what's happened. We told you that. We told you that months and months ago, a year ago, that the government spending was distorting the GDP. And of course, now what do we see? Donald Trump is in. We're cutting out all that excess spending, and it's coming right out of the GDP. Just like what we said, this is going to cause a fairly severe recession, and it's going to come. It's coming on us now. So we want you to protect yourself. Pull in the horns, pull in that bind. Quit spending your money. Start saving every nickel and dime that you can. But you also need to protect your credit reports. You need to make sure that you're paying your bills. So whatever bill you create, make sure you pay it. Protect your job. Protect your income streams. You know, as unemployment rises, a lot of people are going to be looking for your job. So if you're not doing a good job, there's other people that stand in line to get it. So make sure that you protect it. Wouldn't be a bad idea to go get a second gig for yourself. Go find something else to do, because we're going to want to take all that money, because we are going to have, just like what they're seeing in commercial now, they're seeing things that are incredible buys that they haven't seen haven't seen them for a decade. We're going to see that in our market, which is very, very conservative, but it's coming. So if you need to sell something, talk to your broker, get it sold. In the meantime, we're not selling anything, particularly if we got cash flow. We're going to take our cash flow. But when our signposts and the market timing turns brilliant green, and it is starting to turn, we're going to start buying. And again, the only reason we buy these things is to make money, and we have to make cash flow. If we're not making cash flow, we are going to move on to the next one. So let me go to my next slide, and let's just talk about it. I don't want to make this a really, really long one. But you can see the fact that this is happening. It's happening now. I'm thinking by mid-July, mid-2025, we're going to have, it's going to be very visible. Now, you can see this. I've talked about this fact that it is global. Europe is a basket case. They are in terrible, terrible trouble. We are seeing money move from Germany and France and Spain and Switzerland, all coming over here to the United States. That's why the gold is coming over here. Plus, you've got this goofy thing with Ukraine where they don't want to end the war. Well, we're going to end the war, but a lot of people are going to be unhappy. And a lot of people are going to safe haven, buying real estate as safe haven, bringing cash over here, buying our bonds. That's why you see interest rates coming down, because people are concerned. As soon as they get concerned, they start buying safe things. And that's why the gold is coming over here to the United States. That's why interest rates are coming down, because if you're an industrialist in Germany and you can see these problems, you can see that with the bonds, right? I just showed you. You can look at this and see that the German swaps are going right off the charts, and rates are going up, and people don't want German bonds. They want U.S. dollars. And they're going to buy that in our treasuries. That's why interest rates are coming down. I anticipate they're going to come down even further, which talks to me about refinance. If you have some properties, I'm going to tell you, if I anticipate we're probably going to get down into the fives for long-term 30-year fixed mortgages. And if you have some properties you want to do refinance, I'm going to suggest that you start looking at that. Talk to your brokers. I think you're going to have an opportunity in the next 6 months to do so. And having $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 in cash sitting on the sidelines waiting to be deployed is going to be a very, very good thing. So there's another thing that you can do, because I think refinance is coming and you're going to have an opportunity to do that. Let me open this up and let me go to my next slide, and let's just talk about that now. Talked about this yesterday. There is some confusion about this. We had a mortgage relief where they wanted people to start buying homes because obviously housing was in trouble. The new builders are beyond a shadow of a doubt, they are in trouble. They've got all this land that they have to get out of. If that vacant land they just have to pay for. Each and every month they got to write an interest check until they get rid of land. So for them, the only way out of a land is to build their way out of land. You can't be calling up other builders saying you want to buy my land bank, because they're trying to get rid of theirs too. So the only way out for builders is to build their way out. Biden was going to help them with that by changing the rules. Now, I'm going to tell you what got us into trouble in the great financial crisis was putting unqualified people on the properties. We're doing that now. Actually started doing that last year, and they're building up on us. And we're already seeing that in the portfolios from the lenders. So we're already more than what it was in great financial crisis in 2008 and 2009. FHA 90-day delinquencies were 7.03 in the great financial crisis, at 0.5 now, and we're just starting. So this is going to get pretty doggone grim. And these are people that are 90 days late on their FHA mortgage, and those, of course, are going to go bad. Particularly if we're looking at, we just showed you the fact that it looks like unemployment is rising. So if you can't afford your house, people are going to just give it back, particularly if you just bought it recently. Because if you look at the median price of homes, if in June of 2022, they peaked. So if you bought anything past June of 2022 and you're a first-time buyer or in the affordable space, you are losing money and there is no equity. So if you were an FHA buyer, you put 3% down, the property has probably gone down 5 or 10%. So your entire equity position has been wiped out. And I'm telling you right now that our staff is getting calls from lenders that are looking for someone to help them with the coming short sales. Just like we did in 2008, 9, and 10, they're making calls because the builders are looking at their portfolio and they know what comes next. Now, I'm telling you, we are going to buy those short sales. We are going to make great buys on these short sales. They are coming, and we want to buy them. Let me open this up and we just look at this. So they've exceeded the debt to income ratio. 63% of them. These guys are just at risk. Just look at the 63% exceed the debt to income ratio of 43. 43% is onerous. To go beyond that is just stupid. So look, this is where I'm at. We charge for a consultation if for some reason you're not getting any value out of talking to me, or you don't think we're a good fit. I'm not going to charge you, but we got these new regulations from August 17th of 2024 that we have to do this. It's good. It's going to take you about an hour and a half. I charge you $250 for it. If it goes beyond goes beyond 2 hours, we're going to charge you more. Most people are done in that. It just doesn't happen. So you're welcome to call me. Let's talk about how you can fit into this. If you're looking to retire and you say, I haven't got enough, now you've got an opportunity coming to you. Once every 18 years, you get this opportunity. 3 times in your life, probably. One's coming at. This is going to be an epic buying opportunity. It's just going to be epic. We are going to make a fortune, but you have to be prepared. And we don't buy just every house. Only 1 in 10, maybe only 1 in 20 fit into our buy box and our growth corridors. And if they don't fit, we move on to the next one. If we can't make money, we are just not going to do that. If we're going to work with you, we just, it's kind of a loyalty thing. I need to be a good fit for you. You need to be a good fit for us. So let's find out. If you're interested in this is coming. We're not quite there yet, but it is coming. And there are some things that we need to do. I need to know who you are, how you're going to fit within with our group, with our staff, and what it is that you want. What your requirements are, what your goals are, what your income requirements are. If you have any events like a wedding, kids buying a new house, kids going to school, what kind of income that you need. So we need to talk to each other and find out, because we have a goal here. If you come to my class, we've got one in March, that we're looking to get very aggressive here. So I want you to buy $5 million in the next 5 years. And the only reason we're going to buy them is we want cash flow. And that cash flow, we want $15,000 a month. Now, you can do this. I know some people say, oh, I can't do that. You absolutely positively can't. So listen, this is where I'm at. And you're welcome to give me a call. My very best to you guys. Bye-bye now.